My name is Ziemoit Poniewierski. I'm from Can't Stop Games from Poland, from Wrocław, and here are my guests for this panel, James, Arek, and Maciek. I would like them to tell a few words about them, because that would be best. Okay.
Hi, my name is Jameson Sue. From the gaming side, I started a company called Mochi Media back in 2005. We were acquired in 2010 by a company called Shanda Games, and what we did was we provided a monetization and distribution platform for independent gamers. And then in 2012, I started another company called Peaceable Software, funded by Paul, who's not here, at IO and Dan at IO Ventures, and we just recently were acquired by Facebook. So that's my background.
Hi, my name is Arek Foska. Some of you saw me yesterday running with this crazy robot. I spent a few years spending corporate money on corporate on a project for corporate goals. I do some Facebook games, and now I'm spending my own money, and I'm developing board games for iPad.
Hi, my name is Maciek. I work at Ganymede as a CTO, so actually it means doing a bit of everything. So that's really the truth about what it means, because a lot of people ask it. But to sum things up, I'm a technology person. I'm a tech freak and gadget freak, and any technological challenge is something for me.
All right, thank you. So as you can see, a broad scope of competences, broad scope of know-how. The subject of this panel is the future of Facebook as a platform for games, for game developers. And for us, for game developers, it's pretty important question. What will happen with Facebook, or is Facebook really important? Of course, Facebook is something that created social games in not in the aspect that they weren't existing before, but in this aspect that social games came to public understanding that there is something like this, like games for people who are not gamers, and suddenly a lot of people who didn't play before started to do it. So that's why about Facebook. But my first question is this really important to talk about Facebook right now if we are talking about social games in this moment in 2012?
Yes. I don't think that's even a question. I mean, Facebook has the largest user base. Virality is all through Facebook.
Okay, wrong question. How important? Because we know that there are different platforms, and Facebook is not the only one. So maybe how important is better question.
I'll let you guys.
I think it depends. It depends what kind of games you want to provide, what kind of users you need. If you need casual gamers, people who not used to play games, this is a very good question. We should talk about it. Facebook is the biggest source of our users. If you would talk about some kind of specific games, like board games, in my opinion, there are better places to find your users.
Well, I would say that Facebook is the biggest social network right now, but it's not the only social network. And I think that taking a bit broader look at it, social games are not specific kind of games anymore. I think that soon every game will be social. It doesn't really matter if it's a Facebook game or not Facebook game. So it's not a kind of games, it's a feature of a game which is pretty much required today. So coming back to Facebook, I think that on the desktop, Facebook pretty much dominated everyone. There are some markets where Facebook is not the biggest, But I think the mobile revolution can change a lot. So it's hard to predict. But right today, Facebook is pretty much no-brainer to go.
Okay. Good for warm up. But really, several weeks ago, we observed how Facebook created several millionaires and then billionaires. And so there is money on Facebook. However, my real question right now is, will Facebook survive, or will it vanish like MySpace or Friendster, which were also very successful portals at their time, and suddenly that almost disappeared. And the real question is, will Facebook really be there in like 2-3 years?
Yeah, I think if you compare it to Friendster, MySpace, Facebook is crossed critical mass, where now momentum is carrying it forward. And if you look at search companies that go up against Google, there are plenty of search companies, but Google has such critical mass that it is hard to compete with them now. So I think Facebook has exceeded that point, unless they do something very, very, very stupid, which I doubt will happen. Then I think they will continue to dominate, and it's their game right now.
I don't think that Facebook could completely disappear, but we are living in digital times and everything can happen. So it could happen that we will find some other ways to realize our thoughts and to spend our time.
Well, I think that Facebook will continue to dominate, but only because they will continue to improve. Because if they stay in the same place, they would definitely lose at some point. But honestly, I believe that considering kind of people who work at Facebook, that they will continue to improve, and that will allow them to still be the #1 social network.
All right. So you say that it will survive. However, my another question is, what game developers will have from it? I mean, what Facebook is doing for us, and what will happen in future in terms of all the APIs and all the tools and features that really drive games to this platform.
Well, as I said previously, I believe that social is mostly a feature today. But from what I see in what I'm doing, is that social games started as something very simple, and currently, I would say, on the technology stack, we are a lot closer to what MMO developers are doing. So I believe that there is sort of, they acted as sort of bridging the gap between the rest of the world and the hardcore gamers, and that's the role of Facebook, that the gaming came out to everyone. So I think that the games themselves are going to grow bigger and bigger, and that's the huge role of Facebook, because actually before that there used to be this stereotype gamer that is living in mother's basement and playing, and suddenly it turned out that everyone plays games, and it's no longer something bad or frowned up upon. It's just something that people do, and different people like different kind of games. So
are we supported by Facebook, or will we be supported?
Well, I focused mostly on the impact of on the games industry, because I believe that if the industry grows, then yes, definitely we are supported, because the projections for growth of the gaming industry are just enormous. But we are talking about industry as a whole, and if we segment that into specific kinds of platforms, for example, it turns out that actually the biggest growth is in mobile and in social, and traditional games business like boxed games and console games actually might even be shrinking a bit. So in that view, of course, Facebook is supporting games.
Okay,
If
so
they are doing, if
if-
you are
if-
asking something more specific, if they are supporting game developers, uh, I'm not so sure about it long term. I would say they don't want to lose game developers, but they are essentially advertising company today.
okay,
And
there is now 900 million users on Facebook,
yeah.
but the player base hasn't grown since 2010. So it's 2000. Yeah, it was 2010. It's 2.5 million players. Really, it's not growing. Why is that?
Well, I believe that developers should answer this question and be more creative, because Facebook gives you reach. Facebook is a tool. They are not going to suddenly force people to play games.
Okay,
That's my answer.
Jameson, any ideas why it happens?
That's the first time I heard that
Yeah?
the user base of game.
Yeah, player base. Yeah.
Okay.
When you look at Zynga's players, when you look at any other developers user base, they really don't grow.
I can understand a single company's user base not growing, but I would be surprised that if the entire platform user base wouldn't be growing. For Zynga, they're churning through players, so there's so much diversity now, so many different companies that people have options. People are competing for those players, and players that started off with Zynga may have moved over to Kixeye or Kabam or other companies. So I think maybe that's stagnating for them, but I think overall as a base, I would imagine it would continue to keep growing. I'm surprised to hear that it's not growing. To your first question, whether or not Facebook will support growth, they definitely will support growth, and games and more developers coming onto the platform. In fact, I think you can look at their latest move with App Center to make a bigger push for mobile. And I know for a fact that they acquired our company to help do more of these things, because that's what we used to do in the past. Work with developers and grow the game base.
Okay, let's come back to Zynga for a moment. Zynga with Zynga.com are definitely trying to do something outside Facebook. Also, BigPoint never got there with any success. Also, GameForge. Also, we don't see Spiel there, and there are platforms outside Facebook that are growing, but they don't succeed on Facebook. And my question is actually, is this an alternative for Facebook for developers? Like, I don't know, if we start a new company right now, where should we go? To Facebook or somewhere else? Okay.
I've tried to answer for this question before. In my opinion, there are some kind of games that are good for Facebook, that are suited to Facebook, but there are another games that where we could kind of find our customers, our players in a better places. So, from my perspective, I'm producing board games, and for me, Facebook is not a good place for finding users.
Why is it so?
Because people who are playing board games are in a different places. There are some other socialities where they are. I don't know, Board Game Geek. There are some places where I can find them.
That was one of my questions that I wrote down here. It's there are certain game genres that do well on Facebook. I can name 3 of them, maybe 4. What happens to the other genres? Why do they get successful on platform where probably everybody is? 1 billion users, so it is 1/5 or 1/6 of population of Earth. So why don't they play board games? Probably there are a lot of geeks on Facebook, board game geeks.
Yeah, but there is a reason, because when you're trying to find your target group on a Facebook, if they are on a maybe another way, if your target group is in the other place, when you can find it together in one place, why to try to find it on Facebook when you have to take a lot of effort to find them? So that's why, in my opinion, sometimes it's better to find them somewhere else.
Okay.
I could actually add something to that, because many people are probably aware that if you are talking more hardcore gaming, and that's the genres that didn't do well on Facebook, right? You've got platforms like Steam from Valve, and it's great platform. It works technically in an App Store-like model. So you have to be where your players are. If you are making games for hardcore players, then you probably want to be somewhere else than Facebook, because even if those people are on Facebook, they are on Facebook for different reasons than gaming. Because for gaming they simply go elsewhere, and probably Facebook cannot change that, because the formula of the Facebook is a bit different than something that's strictly oriented for gaming. So I would say, coming back to Zynga.com, that maybe they have a good idea, but it can succeed only because they are so big, because nobody else could pull it off today, I think.
All right, so you say what Facebook cannot do, or what we think Facebook cannot do, but what do you think about monetization, current ways of monetization and current level of monetization? We know that 2-3% of players are monetizing, and RPPU is not very high. So the question is this a way to improve? And if Facebook can do anything about it? They did some good job introducing Facebook credits, and it really boosted monetization. So what's the next step? What they can do more?
I think the next step is up to developers. Actually, as a technology person, I'm sort of very deep into thinking and exploring different possibilities in using the data that developers already have. So I believe that we will see a lot more of actually trying to improve the product to the point where through continuous improvement, A/B testing, and even recommendation systems based on some machine learning technologies, we will simply offer the people something they will be willing to pay for. And I believe that there is huge room for innovation here, and there is huge room for creativity, but it's developers who have to do it. Again, Facebook can probably and should give more exposure to games, but I see the
I get your
opportunity
point.
for developers.
Maybe the same question for Arek. It's can Facebook do something for you as a developer to monetize better your games?
I strongly agree with Maciek, because Facebook give us the tools right now, and I think it's on us to build new business models, new ways to engage our users, to force them to pay.
Okay. At the beginning, you said that Facebook is doing great and will dominate, and is a great platform for games, and will be a great platform for games, and will keep this leading position. I somewhat disagree looking at what happens right now, but maybe I'm wrong. So please tell me that maybe there are different ways of thinking. What happens? Agree with OpenFind, Dena, with Mobagi. There are mobile platforms for games. There are mobile platforms for sharing with friends, and mobiles is all we care about right now. everything is talking about mobile, and we know that mobile will dominate very soon, or even it's dominating right now. So Facebook, okay, they trying to do something, but really they are ways behind, years behind this competition. So really, how they can dominate if they are behind competition that appeared from out of nowhere? Question to Jameson.
Yeah, they're definitely further behind GRI and DNA, and all these companies coming from Japan have a tremendous advantage because they've been doing it for years. But I think for Facebook, one, they have money. They're doing a lot of acquisitions. So they're buying other competition. They're learning that way. And then also, they have the user base. We can see from, not from gaming, but with Social Cam, with Vidi, with Chill, some of these companies that have suddenly exploded because of Open Graph. Their mobile applications have exploded because of Open Graph. You'll see Facebook continuing to push on that because they see the competition. It is a huge threat to them. They understand that mobile is the next wave, and they've been very far behind. So, I think you can see the examples of them trying to catch up.
So App Center is something that probably has been prepared to answer this need on the market, but is this the right answer?
No, I don't think it's. I think it's just the first step.
Okay.
Because it's not revolutionary, right?
Mhm.
It's an app store. It's just an incremental way to get marketing, but it's not changing the game.
Mhm.
Until they do something to change the game, they will still be far behind.
Okay. So we didn't say it on this panel, but Viral has been cut some time ago on Facebook. So there has to be other ways to acquire users on Facebook that it used to be at the beginning. It requires a lot of money and a lot of investment. So my question is, let's say that I'm a newbie developer. I have great idea for a game, and even I have resources to create a game that is social because of social mechanism. What should I do with this game? Should I go to Facebook, or should I go to competition, or what other steps should I take to be successful, or at least to return my investment? The question is, let's start with Jameson. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I would say it would depend on the type of game you have, right?
It's a great game.
No, but I mean, if we look at the spectrum of games, there are plenty of games that do well off of Facebook. Strategy games. I mean, you can look at World of Warcraft. You can look at Diablo.
No. I was thinking about the social game. Let's say that it's a casual with social elements, something that is really popular right now, and it really looks like it can be a hit. But something tells me that if I go alone, I will fail. So what should I do?
Is it a mobile game or is it a?
No, definitely definitely a browser game.
Browser game.
Yeah, in Flash.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then if it's a casual game, social, in browser, in Flash,
yeah.
I would say you don't have very many choices other than Facebook. You could try and do it standalone, but I don't think the genre of game fits something that draws people to come back. If you had built a strategy game, if you built a Twitch game, then I would say yes, you'd probably have a much better chance. An MMO type game, yeah, off platform you'd be fine. But with a style of casual social, you could, one strategy for most people is just to go Facebook. It's simple, right? But we've seen a lot of success with foreign companies that they'll go to different social networks in different countries, and that also works. But obviously, it's a lot more effort. You can go to Brazil, you can go to Russia, you can go to a lot of countries where Facebook is not dominant, and try and attack your market that way.
Okay, Arek, you have your game. What will you do, or what are you doing?
I've got my game. You said about the idea of great game. First, you have to have a great game, not the idea.
Yeah.
And I think this is the first step. This is the most important step.
Mm-hmm.
Something that will engage your users, that your users will love, and will want to spend money for it. After that, I think you can try to join ideas that Maciek said before with ideas of recommendation, of reusing users' data with Open Graph. So taking as much as you can of user data from the Facebook and using it for recommendation, for finding your users, your real users from the whole database. And then you have to have a lot of luck. So it's gaming.
Okay.
Well, of course, there's a bit luck to it, but I think that the biggest misconception that some people might have about Facebook games is that you simply make a copy of something like Farmville and it will be okay. It won't be, because those times are long over, and well, Zynga benefited a bit from being the first, or one of the first, because they weren't the first, but one of the first to market. But right now, you have to stand out, and I believe it's a huge responsibility on game design teams to do something that actually makes people want to play the game. And Ziemowicz said about Facebook cutting virality, but in the past we didn't have it. People were simply using word of mouth, and it was okay, and ideas still were spreading. So I think that Facebook will put more effort on a smart virality, like looking at engagement figures and trying to recommend games to your friends and other people. But still, you have to have that engagement. So, in my opinion, when you are making a Facebook game, retention is king. It's absolutely the most important metric that you have to track. How sticky the game is to the users.
All right. So, what about investment? We observe. This is the last question. Yeah, we're running out of time. The last question is, what about investment in a game? We started with very small budgets. Right now, those budgets are quite high, and they are growing. Is this the future of social games, games on Facebook, on other social portals, on DNA, or what do you call it? You say it's something DNA. Yeah. Okay. So will we face the same situation like on console market, that there will be very, very high budgets available only for several developers, and the other guys will have to just admire what they do?
In long term, I believe so. Maybe not a year from now, but 5 years from now, definitely.
Arek?
I believe that marketing budgets will rise too for gaming, but we have to be more creative, and we have to do, like I heard yesterday, crazy shit, and we have to be visible.
Okay, Jameson.
Yeah, I agree. Costs are definitely increasing, but what's ironic is I think in San Francisco, at least, we're seeing less investment in gaming companies because I think it's becoming more and more competitive, and you're not seeing the exit market as feverish as before.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much also to you. You were a great audience, and well, that's the end.
So everybody's talking about European and US market, but what about market? It's much bigger than European and is there a chance for a service developer, someone who's developing services for game developers, to enter Asian market?
Yeah, so I would say if you're a game developer going into Asia, let's say China, okay, I say don't do it. You're gonna get robbed. You're gonna lose all your money. But if you're building actually if you're building developer tools and services, then great. I think Benjamin Jaffe is here. I don't know but the CMune guys are in Beijing, and they do a lot of Unity. A lot of developers in China are using Unity. So tools and services work great in Asia, but actually building games is a different situation. In Japan, I think you have a much better opportunity. I just got back from Japan, and there's a lot of foreign developers there. A lot from China actually too. So Games, no. Services, yes.
Okay. Okay, so earlier one of you said that hardcore games are not for Facebook, basically, and I'm just wondering because even though it's not the state right now, are there some is there some kind of law or are there some kind of barriers you perceive, or is it just that the industry has to try harder because all the hardcore gamers should be on Facebook, right?
I'm not sure if anybody heard it. Did you hear it?
So the question was if we can get hardcore gamers on Facebook. Of course we can. They are on Facebook. But honestly, I'm playing Diablo 3 right now, and I'm playing it on Battle.net, and I believe that hardcore games are sort of building community around themselves. They are not. They are doing the other way around. So you would have. It's hard to bring the entire community to Facebook. Some of those people are not on Facebook, and my answer is, of course, you can try, but I don't think it's the solution. If you want to make the game for hardcore gamers, you probably have to go where they are. That's my answer right now.
There are better places to spend your money.
Okay, so thank you.